Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I'm your host, Angelina Wilson. Today we're going to talk about the cases of Judith Elwell and Brenda White. They were ages 5 and 6 when they disappeared in the summer of 1967 from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Judith disappeared on July 6th and Brenda on August 3rd. They both vanished, as I mentioned, on summer evenings. In 2007, Judith's brother said he remembered a white car seemingly cruising the house for about 3 weeks before his sister vanished. He saw the white car also the night his sister vanished. He heard his sister cry and went to get his dad. In 2013, a local PI believed that he might have had the case solved. Police staked out a Yukon apartment seeking a possible suspect. So they were actively working the case. They sent flyers to Texas, Arkansas, Kansas, Arizona, New Mexico, Missouri, and of course Oklahoma. On August 3rd, Brenda vanished. From a small grocery store, her bike was left behind. Judith's dad assisted in the search because he knew what they were going through. On August 8th, the newspaper The Oklahoman found 2 more similar recent disappearances in Arizona, which is not too far. November 18th and 19th, hunters and sheriff's deputies find a skull, hair, and assorted belongings in a shallow bones in a shallow grave on the side of a house. Child's panties and dress were also found. Brenda's mother ID'd the dress and hair as that of her daughter. How horrible. The remains are ID'd as Brenda. No cause of death would be determined. Even the anthropologist couldn't tell. So that just means that she wasn't stabbed to where there's marks on the bone. They might not have found a hyoid to find out it was broken, although in a child it's usually not, because it's a little more flexible in a child. On June 9, 1969, law enforcement found similarities between the 2 cases, finally, and a missing 7-year-old in Texas. And all of a sudden it's a coincidence? No, I don't like coincidences like that. Another boy saw someone in a white car take Brenda. So now we have a white car seen in both scenes. Another girl said she was chased through her neighborhood by a man in a car she thinks was the same man that took the 2 girls. Judith's parents were questioned over and over. Different backyards were dug up, for gosh sakes. That's terrible. By all accounts, they were devout Catholics who did not drink, smoke, or even swear. These people didn't do anything to their daughter. Her dad's place of work was even dug up. How humiliating. The police have lost Judith's case file. Really? Oh, this irritates me when this happens, and unfortunately this seems to happen a lot in these cases. Brenda, when she was at the store, she was there alone because her friends had gone back to get some change so that Brenda could have something, because they all had change and Brenda didn't. I think that was very sweet. After the two disappearances, the people of Oklahoma City were understandably afraid. There is a sketch of the abductor. I couldn't find it. Police searched the vacant house on the land where Brenda's body was buried. It had been abandoned for about 5 years. Inside they found 2 dirty white shirts, 2 pairs of filthy pants. A piece of cloth was hung from a nail. It was tied in the center as if it was used as a handcuff. Brenda's parents had a quilt made out of some of her clothing. That's very sweet. Shayna Cleary, a criminalist, said they were likely taken by the same person and that he was familiar with the area. I agree with her, and I don't think it's a friggin' coincidence. Brenda's case file is believed to have been destroyed in a flood at the Civic Center basement where police files were kept. That is such a shame. At least they didn't lose hers. 6 years after Judith's disappearance, her mom died of breast cancer. Judith's shoe was found behind another vacant home, but no other sign of Judith was ever found. I think it's safe to say that Judith was also killed. I would start digging around the place where her shoe was found and searching inside that vacant home. Well, it's a little late for that now, 50 years later, over 50 years later, but if they can find any evidence, DNA perhaps, maybe, that's going to be their best bet to clear these cases, and I do believe same killer. Try to get touch DNA off the shoe if you have it. I don't know, I mean, if file is lost, that doesn't mean the evidence is, because the evidence would be in a different place than the actual file, the written reports and whatnot. You could piece that back together by the evidence, and by what's known, what's written, what I was able to find, you can piece that back together. So that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like I said, we have DNA now, even touch DNA. So I hope they find the boxes where the stuff is, so that they can try to do that. Because I'm sure they kept the shoe, I'm sure they kept the dress, I'm sure they kept the hair. Now you're probably wondering about the hair. How did they have her hair? Well, when a human being is no longer living, as their body breaks down, decomposes, their hair comes off in what's called a mat, and that's what they found. It's a horrible thing for a parent to have to see, or anyone to have to see and identify. I want to thank you for joining me for this intriguing case. It really is intriguing. And please join me next time when I talk about the Peterson shoe export case. I've mentioned this case a few times, including when I talked about the Grimes sisters, whose case I will put in the up here when I do that case next week. I mean, yeah, next week on Monday. So that you can familiarize yourself, because it's the same suspects basically. The same group of people that were involved. Also, there was a book about the Peterson shoe export case called 3 Boys Missing that was actually written by the lead investigator in the case many years later. The case is solved, partly, and I'll explain that. So please join me for that. Thank you for liking, subscribing, commenting, everything. Please keep doing that. I want to get 100 subscribers. God bless you, and have a wonderful rest of your day.